Hello, today I'm with Dan Diath, who up until recently was the Lord Mayor of Cardiff. He offered real support to those in need in his constituency at the beginning of lockdown in March. So thank you so much for coming today. So the first question, how did you initially try to support those in need during the first lockdown?
A few days into the lockdown, on social media, almost like memes appeared, and there were things for you to print off at home, like little forms, and they said, "Hi, my name is," you could write your name in, "I'm your neighbour. If you need any help with shopping or whatnot, please give me a ring." You could write your mobile number on, which I thought was a really, really good idea. So I thought, well, let's try and do this on a larger scale. So a colleague and I designed one. I grabbed all the ones I could find off Google Images and kind of compiled one with all the best bits, and he used his technical wizardry to make it look pretty. And then we had access to a printer and produced thousands and thousands. And then over the course of a month, say, we went out most days and hand delivered them to people's doors, encouraging people who were having a tough time to give us a call.
What type of phone calls did you receive and how did they change over time?
To be honest, we had all kinds of people phoning up for all kinds of different reasons. I mean, we had people phoning up who were in real difficulty, and needed some quite intense interventions from not just us but the council more generally. Some people just phoned up for a chat. Could be things like, could you pop to Tesco and get some ginger for me? To offer to do shopping, and quite small and whimsical things like that, to just chats and reassurance. And people seemed to find it nice and comforting, knowing that we were there, we were out and about, and if they needed help, they could call on it. I mean, some of the phone calls, it was very easy stuff to do. It was like taking bin bags to someone. That's nothing really. I mean, there was a particular resident who phoned up who was terminally ill, and I think he'd been quite isolated before the lockdown. But obviously, it was a very unsettling experience for him. And the phone calls I had with him, I found quite emotionally challenging. So we spoke on a number of occasions. Quite possibly, we didn't have long left to live, so he was, these are some of the final conversations he would ever have. But for him, it was just chit chat, and maybe that's all you want. Maybe that's all you need, knowing someone's there. Maybe a bit of chit chat to take your mind off what's happening. So that impacted on me quite heavily. It was quite rewarding knowing that when you spoke to someone and you ended the call and they felt better. You could tell they felt better than when you first picked up the phone. So that was good. So it was certainly worth doing. However hard it may have been for us.
How do you think the community itself has been affected in lockdown?
There was a real communitarian spirit. People felt very, very close to their neighbours and their community. There was obviously a huge amount of voluntary work going on. People volunteered for the NHS in numbers that exceeded the actual need for help. People volunteered for stuff to do with the council. Because in the first few weeks of lockdown, there wasn't really any help or support available to people. And it took about a month for things really to start rolling. Cardiff Council set up its own food bank. We ended up delivering food parcels to people, but in that first month, there wasn't really much out there. So that's why we felt it was important for us to move quickly and fill that gap. With a huge effort around getting food to people working at the Heath Hospital. So there's a real national effort, I think, wouldn't be exaggerating, to look after one another, and I think that's changed over the course of the lockdown. I think it's a very different feeling now. I think most importantly, it's highlighted the fact that before the pandemic, there were lots of people out in the community who were very, very lonely, particularly older people, particularly people with disabilities. So hopefully something we can take away from the experience is that those people need help, all the time in normal circumstances. And when we do go back to normal, hopefully those people won't be forgotten about.